Hi, I'm Gino Della Coletta, and welcome to G-Talk Daily, your weekly source of information on the ground. In this week's show, we visit the Ottawa offices of Golder Associates Limited as they celebrate their 50th anniversary. From its very humble beginnings, this intrepid company and motley crew have blazed a path of excellence in the field of ground engineering, environmental, and cultural sciences. With 160 offices in 6 continents and close to 7,000 employees, Golder's a groundbreaking firm and a leader in the field. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's go and visit with legendary Golder stalwart Finn Heffernan.
The first office was at Bloor and Jane, and it was a second-story walk-up, 1 bedroom. And the Helen Gass and Jim Alexander from Geocon were in the front room. Irene Burkus was at the alcove at the top of the stairs. Golder and Vic Milligan were in the bedroom, and the kitchen was the soils lab. He brought me over to look at it, and he was so pleased to show me it. I could hardly not show my disappointment. It was a pretty modest place to get started, but with time, he recruited additional Geocon people. John Sachuk in 1961, Norman McCammon in 1962, Bob Wilson and myself in 1964, and he added some recent graduates so that they moved down the street on Bloor Street, and they took over a second-story office space connected to what was a former pool hall, not too fancy. Now, for the remainder of the 60s and 70s, we attracted some young and aggressive engineers who pressed for expansion opportunities. And in 1967, we started the Ottawa office. In the first year, we got some work, soil investigation work on locks on the Rideau Canal, and from Lloyd Lordy, who was a classmate of mine from McGill, and several smaller jobs. Now, we ended in 1967 with a profit, which was surprising because we had budgeted for a loss. We had very little overhead, so we were able to cover all our expenses, our moving expenses up there, and what have you, and still turn a profit, $1,000. Golder is very special. You know, through all the years, you know, we started with hardly any money, but we worked damn hard to keep our independence, and we are still, even today, independent.
Wow, that is one impressive and accomplished suck puppet. Under the leadership of Finn and others, the Ottawa office began to flourish. With that came more work, and a search began for the best, brightest, and most impressive minds in the field.
It was back in the summer of 1975. I was working as a student for Cumming Coburn, who's now IBI Group, doing sewer and water main layout and inspection out in Orleans when it was still a field. And I'd already worked for another soils company called Butts Magwood and Hall. They were a local company here. I worked in their lab and in the field. Worked for Wilf Ullman. Actually, he was my boss at the time, and I helped him to run the lab and lug around all that portable drilling equipment. When I was at Cumming, when I went to see Cumming Coburn, they said, I told him really I wanted to be in the soils business, and he said, well, you should really work for Golder Associates and I can get you an interview. So one day, as we got near the end of the summer, I was out in Orleans. It was about 3 in the afternoon. I phoned Larry to talk to him about the job, and he said, what are you doing in Orleans? You're supposed to be at your job interview at Golder at 4 o'clock. I said, Larry, I didn't know there was a job interview today. He said, well, you better go, Finn Heffernan's waiting for you. So I jumped in my car, drove into the Golder office, pulled up to the front door. Now that particular day, because it was so hot, it had been hot all summer, I just hadn't brought a shirt with me to work. I had a pair of ripped jeans on, my hair was kind of long then, and I had big red sideburns, work boots on, and I walked in the front door of the Golder office. Carol Nash was the receptionist. She took one look at me and she said, oh no, we deliver our soil samples at the back. And I said, no, I'm here for my job interview. And that was my last job interview.
As you can see, Golder is a company that looked beyond physical appearance or even basic clothing and assembled a team of the most talented and dedicated professionals. Over the years, the staff here has developed a great camaraderie where, above all, everyone supports and looks out for one another.